Good day, all. You know, I've done some videos and written posts over the last several months that I've used the name A Common Sense Patriot for. I realized last night, though, that I've never really introduced myself or stated my purpose. Not that you necessarily care, but in case you do, I guess now is as good a time as any. My name is Lewis. I go by Lou. I was born and raised in Southern California, but for the last 20 years I've lived in southwestern Colorado. Many of you know me personally, but some of you know me only as Facebook friends. Generally, I think the latter is because we either share a common interest in the future of America, or we share a common interest in faith, or bow hunting, or fly fishing, or racing, or some combination of those things. Also, many of you all know that from time to time I've posted written opinion pieces on social, political, and cultural issues. But lately I've decided to put some of my thoughts in writing and some of them on video. I don't know, must be kind of an old dog, new trick sort of deal. As far as this common sense patriot thing goes, I've been thinking about how to explain it. And quite frankly, I just don't have a great way to do that. The best I can come up with is to say that I see and hear so much these days that makes absolutely no sense to me, particularly in the actions of our government. But just in our general culture too. What I do see crystal clearly though, and what common sense makes obvious to me what's happening, is going to negatively affect my kids and grandkids and the generations beyond that. So the best explanation I have is that I just have to vent and see if there are enough folks with similar thoughts to collaborate with and hopefully change the devastating trajectory we're on. That's the best way I can describe my intent. I think it's important for you all to know that none of what I'll be saying or writing will be treasonous or seditious in any way, though I imagine there will be those who will try to spin it that way. I fervently hope and pray there is a non-violent path back to the republic we were designed to be, governed by law and common sense and under God. But that doesn't mean that a physical fight to preserve the United States of America isn't potentially looming out there in the future. As I said, I certainly hope this is something that can be resolved without it, but our government and those other entities who would take our freedom must know that we the people are willing to physically fight for our country if by their actions we are left with no other option. Our posterity deserves no less from us. My dad, God rest his soul, was from West Virginia. And he has some great old down in the holler colloquialisms. My personal favorite was when he'd say, "Son, talk in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up first." It is simply time we the people act, that we demand that our government get back on track and adhere to the principles and intent of the Constitution of the United States and the representative governance model designed in that Constitution. It is time that we the people start addressing the decay in our society and, regardless of who it offends, begin to reassert the use of and adherence to the practicality of common common sense. Also, what I have to say isn't going to be filtered. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be dropping F-bombs. But if a colorful word slips out here and there, I'm just going to have to ask you to forgive me in advance. The subject matter is going to be real, and nothing is going to be off limits. This isn't going to be a place to come for political correctness. We're going to examine and talk very frankly about some very controversial subjects. So buckle up. And if you're offended by the truth, by facts, by directness and reality, then you might need to get a puppy and find a quiet corner somewhere. Now, I'm certainly not some sort of preacher, and I don't think I'm better than anyone. In fact, probably the opposite is true. 35 years ago, I married the very best person I know. And I am most definitely not the best person I know, by a long shot. Look, I'm just a regular guy who's rolled around in this rock for 6 decades. And not 1 minute of those 60 plus years has been spent as a saint or a choir boy. I've made my share of bad choices and done things I'd certainly take back if I could. And for those things, I'm truly sorry. The point is that I'm not looking to get anything out of this. I'm not a candidate for office or looking for financial gain. The bottom line is that I have no ulterior motive other than I'm a patriot with a wife, kids, and grandkids that I want to live free. God willing, our grandkids will have kids and grandkids and on and on. And I want them to live in freedom long after I'm dead and gone. What I just described are and will be my posterity. And they deserve the best I can give to try to secure for them the opportunities my distant ancestors had, that more recently my grandparents had, and that my parents had, and that I had. But we must first truly see and hear just how far away we have strayed from where we should be, so that we can collectively begin to plot a proper course back to that incredible place our forefathers fought and died to bequeath to us, the United States of America. We've all heard that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. That is so very true. Folks, the time for talk is over. It's time for action. I'd ask each of you listening to answer this question for yourselves. If not us, who? If not now, when? What I'll be saying will be out in the open for anyone who wishes to see and hear. So I'm not hiding from anyone. Like I said, there will be no treason or sedition spoken here. We're just going to look at facts, and you all will form your own conclusions from there. And then hopefully we American patriots, will determine a plan of action to find our way back to being that shining beacon on the hill. In any case, if any of these videos or posts resonate with you or make you think about something in a different way than you have before, or if you think your Facebook friends or Instagram friends, or is friends the right terminology for Instagram? I don't know. Anyway, if you think they would be interested, you're more than welcome to share these with them. Enlightenment comes from knowledge. And we, the people, need to start educating ourselves. We need to look much more closely at where we started, what that beginning cost our founding fathers, and what we have allowed ourselves to become. And this isn't just a government thing, though that is a big part of the problem. It is also very much a cultural and societal erosion. which we'll be closely examining. I started writing a list of the places we've gotten off the path, and that list got way too long very quickly. It actually surprised me when I started putting these things down on paper just how many things were on it. The list was long and keeps growing. Again, we must identify and recognize all of these things so we can plan a path back to the application of common sense in our country and away from godlessness and to a government of folks that represent we the people and not people who believe they are elected to rule us. I think it's very important for you all to know that I recognize it's much easier to point a finger at what is wrong than it is to develop solutions to the problems. We have myriad politicians who scream at what the other side is doing wrong and that they're the ones to fix it if you'll just vote them into office. But then they offer no viable solutions either before or after being elected. A common sense patriot is not only going to identify problems, but will be offering solutions as well. In closing, I'd like you all to ponder this quote from Thomas Jefferson. Honor, justice, and humanity forbid us tamely to surrender that freedom which we have received from our gallant ancestors and which our innocent posterity have a right to receive from us. Write that down. Put it somewhere that you'll see it every day. Let it resonate in your head and your heart. Realize that was said by one of our founding fathers, a brilliant man who was speaking less to folks in his day and more to Americans of the future. He was speaking directly to us, directly to we the people of the 21st century. He incredibly foresaw what was to come and commanded us not to let it slip away because we were too apathetic or too lazy or too caught up in our own little lives or too afraid to fight for it. Honor, justice, and humanity forbid us tamely to surrender that freedom which we have received from our gallant ancestors and which our innocent posterity have a right to receive from us. Again, I'm Lou, and I'm a common sense patriot. Till next time, Godspeed to you all.